Hey, what's up guys? I'm Michael of Say Yes to Yum, where I am all about mouth-watering, low-carb and keto-friendly cooking so you can say no to the carbs and still say yes to yum. Today is a decadent one. We are talking chocolate on chocolate. So it's a chocolate tart filled with a chocolate ganache. It is seriously like death by chocolate in keto form. It is so delicious, rich, creamy, luxurious chocolate tart. I was first inspired to create this recipe when I saw Keto Connect's chocolate pecan tart, which looks amazing, and I'll link it down below. But I really wanted to have a chocolate base and a chocolate filling, and when I compared the ingredients in my pantry to that recipe, it was very different, so it inspired me to create my own version. Now, what really surprised me though with this recipe is honestly, it's not very complicated. There are minimal ingredients. All it really takes is a little bit of patience and love to go into it. And let me tell you, it is so worth it. It is literally a chocolate lover's paradise. So I think that's enough talking. Let's get cooking. To start off, for the crust ingredients, you'll need almond flour, cocoa powder, powdered sweetener, melted butter, and a pinch of salt. For the filling, you'll need heavy cream, keto-friendly chocolate. Now, there's a lot of routes you can take here. You can use 100% baking chocolate and then add sweetener to your liking, but since I had these chocolate chips on hand, that's what I used. So I used a mix of semi-sweet chips, which are 45% cocoa, and dark chocolate chips, which are 72% cocoa, or in this case, cacao? And so based on your ratios and how sweet you want it, then your sweetener amount also varies. So for me, I used 2/3 semi-sweet chocolate and 1/3 dark, so I only added 2 tablespoons of sweetener. The last items are 1/3 cup of butter and a teaspoon of vanilla. To begin making the crust, preheat your oven to 350 degrees. I'm using an 11-inch tart plate for this recipe. Then combine your 2.5 cups of almond flour, your 1/2 cup of sweetener, 4 tablespoons of cocoa powder, and a pinch of salt. Then whisk it thoroughly through to get rid of any big clumps and combine it well. After that, you can add the 1/2 cup of melted butter. Mix it all up until the dough sort of starts to come together. Now, for this part, it's totally okay that it's a little bit crumbly because we're literally going to press the crust right into the pan to form that tart shell. So next up, we transfer the crust to the pan, and again, it likely will be pretty crumbly like you can see here, but as you continue to work it, it will start to take the form of the shell. Now you can use a measuring cup to help press it in and level it out. Eventually though, you'll want to get your clean hands dirty and start pressing the crust evenly through along all of the sides and edges. Once you're satisfied with the crust, poke some holes with a fork in it to avoid any potential rise of the tart, and then pop it in the oven for about 10 minutes. Once it comes out, let it cool completely on a cooling rack. Now, while the shell is in the oven, you can start on the filling. Begin by warming your heavy cream in a saucepan on medium-low heat. Keep an eye on it and stir it frequently so it doesn't develop a skin layer on the top. Is that actually the technical term? I don't know. In a large bowl, add your chocolate, butter, vanilla, and sweetener. And I'm only using 2 tablespoons here, but you can adjust to your taste. Once the cream is just starting to bubble around the edges, take it off the heat and add it to your bowl. Now here's a tasty little tip. Let that cream sit there for a minute or two before you start stirring. The moment you stir, the cold air actually starts being added, so you really want to let the cream settle in there and start melting the chocolate and butter before you start mixing it up. Now, after it's settled, begin combining. It takes some patience here, but mix it nice and slowly, and eventually you'll see this rich, dark ganache start to come together. You want to make sure you get rid of any lumps here. So I switched to a whisk just to really make sure I was getting a smooth ganache. And if you've been mixing for a while and you're seeing some lumps still that you can't quite get out, then you can totally microwave it for about 20 or 30 seconds and mix it through again. Just you want to make sure you've got a totally smooth ganache like you see here. Boom. Then once the tart shell is completely cooled, you can add the filling into that shell. Spread it around generously like so. Ooh la la, baby. Once that's all done, you can add some flaky sea salt and refrigerate it for a couple of hours to set up. And then when you take it out, it will look like this beauty right here. To remove the tart plate, very carefully place it on a bowl and gently, or in my case not so gently, release the outer shell from the bottom of the tart. And then carefully lay it back down on your board and phew, there it is. Now this tart is thick, rich, chocolate galore, and you'll see these tiny slices because a little really goes a long way. Now you could even alter the recipe to fit a smaller tart if you wanted to do, say, a 4-inch tart pan as a beautiful dessert for Valentine's Day. Now anyway, that is it for me, so give this video a like if you enjoyed this recipe, and if you try it, let me know what you think. Subscribe if you'd like to see more epic low-carb recipes, and then you can also hit me up on Instagram at SayYesToYum. Thanks so much for watching and have a great one.